Hey, it's Brian at Advantage Personal Training. We're going to go through a full body warm-up here that's going to get you ready for your workout. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start off on your back with your knees bent and feet flat on the floor. So as you lay down here, you're going to make your belly strong. And then we lift, push through your heels, lift the hips up. And it's really important here we don't overextend. So we want to keep your belly strong so we're not arched up towards the ceiling. Okay, wherever your hip range of motion ends, that's where we're going to go. All right, so for right now, your cheeks are strong. You're going to reach up over your head, slide those elbows down into your back pocket. So basically, we're just trying to slide your forearms along the floor. Reaching up and down. We're going to go more for time here than for reps. So if you want to go at a slower pace, you can go at a slower pace. But we do want to get a nice stretch across your chest and through your shoulders. And good, let's relax. Okay, next one. We're going to come up and you'll turn one hip in or one shin in and the other out. Okay, so just to give a couple angles, we've got one hip. This is actually rotated in, but it sends our leg out behind us. And we're going to take your chest, we're going to go right over top of that forward leg. So your chest is going right over top. Try to get both elbows to the floor. So we want to feel the stretch in the back pocket of the leg that you're laying over. If you're not feeling a stretch in the outside of your hip, you can grab your foot and just bring it forward, okay, to put more rotation stretch on that hip. So just to show you from a different angle, right over top. If you need more, bring that hip up. Bring your foot up. And we're looking to get nice even pressure through both elbows here. And good, let's switch sides. So again, you don't have to get both cheeks to the floor, but you can get a nice stretch out of trying to get both of your cheeks down to the floor and also keeping this down on the floor. Okay, and then let's go ahead and go over the front. Again, you should feel this stretch in the outside of your hip, right around where your pocket is. If you need more stretch, go ahead and bring that foot forward. If your knee is at 90 degrees and you're still not feeling a stretch here, I think that means you're flexible enough. So at this point, it's going to be sort of a warm-up for you. But if you're feeling the stretch, that's what we want. Down the outside of your hip. And good. Okay, at this point, we're going to come up to one knee. If you have a pad nearby, it'd be good to have that. All right, because we're going to be on one knee for just a bit. First one, we're coming up nice and tall. And we're going to do a basic hip flexor stretch here. It's real common to see people lean way forward for a hip flexor stretch like this. What we really want is we want to get this stretch staying nice and tall. So think about taking your tailbone and scooping it under. It's almost going to feel like you're hunching. Okay, so we're scooping that tailbone under, and then we're going to push forward just a little bit. We should feel that stretch. You'll actually probably feel it in your quad, so a little bit farther down your leg. But we're going to do a hip flexor stretch here in just a second. Okay, so we're holding this nice and strong. Let's go ahead and take that same side arm, reach up over your head. Okay, so if your right knee is down, you're going to take your right hand and reach it way up in the air. Should feel more of a stretch as you reach up over your head. And good. From there, you might have to take a little bit of a step forward, but let's take your hands right down to the floor. Okay, so right now my knee is outside my armpit. My hands are on the floor. You can also do this with a foam roller. So if you have a roller or something to prop your hands up on, I actually sort of prefer it this way. What we'd like to see is a nice straight line from your knee, through your hip, and up through your ear. I think a lot of people, you get a little hunchy when we're right here. So we're going to prop yourself up, push your chest away from the floor, and push your hips down to the floor. This should be giving us more of a hip flexor stretch. And we're going to hold this, taking some nice deep breaths as we go. And good. From here, the next step is going to be to straighten your front leg. Okay, so it's nice to have your hands on the roller here for this one, especially if you're not as flexible in your hamstrings. Okay, but we're going to take that front leg and straighten it. Push your hips up towards the ceiling and let your back heel drop down towards the floor. So here we should be feeling a big stretch down the back of your leg and also a stretch in your calf as you let your back heel drop down to the floor. And good, let's relax. We'll take that knee back down to the pad. Now we'll go leg out to the side. Okay, so we're getting a basic groin stretch here. And you can rock those hips forward and back if you like. Moving forward and backward, sitting your butt almost back to your heel, and then forward like you're going to be in a push-up position. It just changes the stretch a little bit as you go. And the last piece of this on this side is going to be a big thoracic spine rotation. So what we're going to do is whatever leg is out, you're going to take that hand, you're going to go palm up, reach underneath your armpit, let that shoulder drop to the floor, and then we're going to rotate up and try to stack your shoulders up on top of each other. And we'll do that 5 times. So let's reach under. Exhale on your way up, opening up. Trying to get fingertips to point at the ceiling and shoulders to stack right up on top of each other. This is number 3. Number 4. And 5. And good. Okay. We're going to repeat the whole process on the other side now. So again, we got to go, first one's a hip flexor stretch. We're going to stay nice and tall, but we're going to keep that tailbone scooped under, almost like you're trying to tuck your tail between your legs, right? So just a little bit of a scoop with your hips. As soon as you do that, you should feel that stretch kind of come into the front of your leg. A lot of times what happens if you're overextending, if you're really driving forward here, we lose a lot of the stretch just because of the low back extension. So we want to keep that extension out of your low back, make sure we're getting a better stretch on the front of your thigh. And good, let's go ahead and grab your roller if you need it. And we'll go hands to the floor. And again, we're looking for that nice straight line from your knee up through your shoulders. So we really want to drive those hips down towards the floor and push your chest up away from the floor. Taking nice deep breaths into your belly here. As you take a breath into your belly, you may feel the stretch increase. On the exhale, you can sink into the stretch just a little bit more. And good, next piece of this, we're gonna straighten the front leg, right? So all we do is push those hips up towards the ceiling, let your back heel drop down to the floor. It is helpful to have your roller here. If you don't need it, go ahead and take your hands to the floor. Don't worry if your front leg is not straight. Not everybody can get there. So what we want is just making that front leg straighter than it was before, right? So we're just looking for that stretch down the back of your leg. Remember to let your back heel drop. And good. Okay, let's take that knee down to the pad again. One leg out to the side. Okay, this should be the leg that you did not stretch before. We should still be on the same knee. And again, we can rock forward and backward with that. So all I'm doing here is just sitting back towards my heel and then all the way forward into like a push-up position, rocking back and forward, always keeping a stretch on the inside of that thigh of the leg that's extended. And good, last piece. And take whatever leg is extended, you're going to take that hand, reach down under your armpit, close your shoulders down, and then we rotate up. Try to stack those shoulders right on top of each other, point your fingertips up at the ceiling. We'll go through 5. And good. Okay. From here, we're going to get moving a little bit. So, first one, we're going to go feet out wide, out to the side. Okay, and just to feel a little warm in your legs here, we're going to bend one leg, then the other. Always keeping your feet flat on the floor. Okay, so like here we're going to be squatting down, see my hips go backwards as I go. All right, it's not this where I'm just poking my knee forward and rolling that heel off the ground. We want to end up here, and we're just working side to side to get a bit of a warm in your legs. Okay, you go at your range of motion, so you can go as deep as you need to with these. Remember, it is just warm up. Typically, with a workout, we'd be going a little bit deeper than this, but in our case, we're just warming up, so we'll keep them a little bit shallow, more shallow. And good, relax. Okay, next one. We're going to straighten that arm out, like locking your arm out completely, right? And then we're going to take your opposite knee, and you're going to bring it up and really smash your knee and the heel of your hand together, right? So this is almost a core thing, right? So we want to be working from your opposite shoulder down to that hip, almost like a sash right across the front of you. Okay, so we bring that knee up, smush it together like you're trying to make a dent in the muscle on top of your knee, and then from there we're going to take that knee that was up and step back for a reverse lunge. We're going to do 5 of these. So come up, press, 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 and step back. If you had a ball of Play-Doh in between the heel of your hand and your knee, you'd be trying to make that Play-Doh into a pancake. So we press, step back, 2 more. So again, we're sort of warming up your hip flexor here. We're actually getting a lot of work on the standing leg. And we're also warming up your core from one corner to the other. Okay, let's do the other side. So stand with a little bit of knee bend on that leg that you're standing on. Lock out that arm, squeezing across your body. And then we step back for a reverse lunge. Come up. If balance is a challenge for you, you can always do this something nearby, right? Like the back of the couch or a rack or whatever you've got around, a railing. Okay, you can always hold on. We like the balance challenge here just because it gets everything fired up and ready to go. Remember, this is almost like a crunch, right? So we're driving this hip and this shoulder together, pushing hard. Last one. Come up and push hard, and reverse lunge back. Okay, last piece. Standing on one leg. Okay, we're gonna hinge over at your hips, right? So it should be just a movement from your hip joint. We don't want to round your back over, right? But what we're going to do is hinge and reach. And what we usually tell the kids is fly like Superman, right? So as you reach forward, you're going to be looking at the floor. Hands are out in front of you. This should feel like just as much of a shoulder warm-up as it is a hip warm-up. That's 4. We're going to do 6 of these each side. And good, let's switch sides. Remember, we're reaching nice and long. Want to get your body should look like the letter T where your standing leg is the stem of the T and the rest of your body makes the top. Last one. All right, so that's a full body stretch and activation. Now it's time to get after your workout. Enjoy it.